Tanweeb lesson 4. Learn the Chesed Farog Naya Sabul. Okay, so here's the Fivefold Noble Path outline. The Fivefold Noble Path breaks down the five-part methodology used to counteract and break the spell of Leviathan. The 5 parts are as follows: Sah Dahuth, which means right knowledge; Sah Hakundum, which means right wisdom; Sah Thahum, which means right overstanding; Sah Sabu, which means right reason or right reasoning; and Sah Istashe, which means right action. Again, family, all I did was take the Nuwaubu language and use it to describe the concepts and beliefs and practices that we have already learned to embrace. It's nothing new. And place it in a question and answer format so that when imparting it to a person or newcomer or whomever, it is very concise and comprehensive for them to be able to catch on to, learn, and memorize. So let's go at it. What is the first fold of the Fivefold Noble Path? Sahdahuth, which is right knowledge. What does it teach us to do? It teaches us to only accept information that is based on fact, that is, information that can be verified by one or more of 3 tests: experience, evidence, and reasoning. Why? Because we experience evidence and we use it to reason. What ability is developed by the practice of Sahdahuth, or right knowledge? The ability to be able to draw the correct conclusions in words about any phenomena detected with the senses and processed by the mind. Therefore, Sahdahuth develops right thinking. So with this, what you need to really focus on is we're turning right knowledge into action. And whenever you properly process information, because that's all Nuwaubu is Nuwaubu is literally scientific and mathematical method of information processing. And we know that the physical senses detect the information, and then the mind process that information, and then we're able to better understand what something is, how it is, and so on and so forth. So right thinking is developed when that process is on point. And this is what Nuwaubu is trying to get us to reach in our pursuit of sound right reasoning, trying to become sound in our in our reasoning. And of course, sound right reasoning, we all know, means unshakable facts and logic. So it's learning how to actually define something or basically process something and define it as either true or false. What is the second fold of the Fivefold Noble Path? Sah Hakundum, which is right wisdom. What does it teach us to do? It teaches us to know how and when to use Sahdahuth, right knowledge. That is to know how and when to apply the fact. So right wisdom, or as we call it in Nuwaubu, Sahakundum, it teaches us to know how and when to apply the right knowledge. When do we apply this? When do we use this? Where do we use it? How do we use it? Right? These questions. What ability is developed by the practice of Sahakundum? The ability to be able to draw the correct conclusion in words about how and when Sahdahuth, right knowledge, should be used. Therefore, Sahakundum, right wisdom, develops correct judgment. So this particular aspect is to create in us the ability to be able to properly judge after we properly conclude of something that we've observed, right? And I think that it's more simple than what we've been led to believe. But for some people, it may be complicated, and this is why the foundation is needed, because there are more explanation. I'm just doing this particular PowerPoint as an introduction to Tanweeb, but I'm going to put out more PowerPoints on each individual concept so that we'll get a thorough understanding of it and more dialogue. So they'll be done in actual classes, live classes. What is the third fold of the Fivefold Noble Path? Sahdahu, which is right overstanding. What does it teach us to do? It teaches us to develop the capacity and capability to completely comprehend the information that is received by the mind and to develop the ability to use it, reflect it, and transmit it in the intended way. What ability is developed by the practice of sahdahu? The ability to use, reflect, and transmit sahdahu, which is right knowledge, in the intended way. Therefore, sahdahu develops correct comprehension, right? So when the information is received by the mind and we're comprehending it, we usually absorb it in a certain kind of way based on our reference point. If the information doesn't naturally come within inside of your reference point, here's where we need to do actual research because it's something that we're unfamiliar with. And again, more information come in contact with the senses, and it is processed by the mind. We make the determination as to what's right or wrong or correct or incorrect. And then by that process, we develop a strong sense of comprehending what it is that we've actually encountered in our endeavors of trying to actually absorb this or whatever information that we've actually taken the time to try to research or learn about. What is the fourfold in the fivefold noble path? Sah sabu, which is right reason or right reasoning. Sah sabu. What does it teach us to do? It teaches us to develop the capacity and capability to properly analyze and synthesize information to bring about effective results and solutions. What ability is developed by the practice of sah sabu? The ability to present logically valid proofs and justifications to classify information as either true or false. So right reasoning helps us to either prove or justify that something is or isn't, right? It's that faculty of reasoning that allows us to deem this information as either true or false and be able to explain it or prove it. What is the fifth fold of the fivefold noble path? Sah istaskhai, right action. What does it teach us to do? It teaches us to develop proper conduct by the practice of sahdahu and the Nuwaubian laws of Mat. That is to exercise a strict control over our thoughts, words, behaviors, and actions and emotions to bring about an efficiency of thoughts and productivity of action. Holy Tablets breakdown. In the Holy Tablets, chapter 10, tablet 12, verses 144 through 145, it states, the third step is controlling your various emotions and getting things done, accomplished through right knowledge. 145 says sound right reasoning and sound action. The Holy Tablets, chapter 10, 12, verses 131 through 132, it states, control your thinking with right knowledge, control of your physical activities, including your sexual activities. So in this particular, these particular verses, the master teacher is telling us that our emotions need to be controlled and right knowledge needs to be to the forefront. And what that literally means is, just like in these presentations, a lot of people, when they read this or listen to this, their emotions is going to get involved. But one thing you have to understand is that what I'm saying, I'm standing on as 100% fact because I'm backing it up. There's nothing that I've said in this presentation that in some way, shape, form, or fashion cannot be proven through the writings of the master teacher, be it the holy tablets or the various different scrolls. He's saying right here in tablet 12, chapter 10, verses 144 and 145, that the third step to power is controlling our various emotions and getting things accomplished through the right knowledge, sound right reasoning, and sound action. So in order for us to have sound action, we first must remove the reflexive use of our emotions based on us not wanting to actually process something that may go against our preconceived ideas or things that we've learned to accept as true that may not necessarily be true. So we have to watch that, family. We have to actually sit and take the time to ponder and absorb, or use right overstanding, sahfahum, to totally comprehend the information that's actually coming to us, and to be able to properly weigh it with everything that we have access to, so that we know what it is that's actually being said or disseminated to us. Just like in this presentation, there's nothing that I'm saying to you that pretty much I cannot go show and prove through the master teacher's writings. What ability is developed? The ability to conduct oneself as a non-ether being with proper conscious awareness and proper conscious moral judgment. The master teacher taught us that non-ether is conscious awareness and conscious moral judgment gases. So if we're made up of this effective spiritual substance, right, or this potent spiritual substance, then we have the ability to develop the same conscious awareness and conscious moral judgment. And once when we're able to conduct ourselves with the non-ether conscious awareness and conscious moral judgment, then we can actually take steps in being deities again.